Good morning, everybody. So, it has been said that in the face of high spiritual vibration, electronics doesn't work real well. So, you can all consider that a compliment for the space we have established here this morning. So, good morning. Today is the second installment in the review or refresher course or whatever we want to call it in the basic principles of the science of mind. And so today, I will be discussing the power of thought and word and looking at how our thoughts, our words, our beliefs, our ideas, our consciousness affects, impacts, creates, manifests the nature of our life and our beingness. So in doing that, I went through and looked at a lot of the basic principles, a lot of the fundamental texts of the science of mind established by Ernest Holmes, the United Centers for Spiritual Living, and so on. And so we're going to look back a little bit to last week and then to pick up and move forward into this week and on into the whole review process. So traditionally, we have looked at the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. And so this week would be the way it works. And we begin by remembering that our foundation, our grounding in this teaching, our grounding in this principle is that God is all there is. That universal life, universal spirit, mind, whatever we want to call it, the one universal presence from which everything has sprung, it is in that we live and move and have our being, and it in us. Okay. In us, through us, around us, in each and every moment. It is the nature of who we are. It is what we stand in, it is what we stand upon, and it is always moving through us. And our thoughts, our ideas, our beliefs are constantly giving shape and form and substance, providing the mold, if you will, for how our lives are created. Now, for some of us, we may look at, I can look at some of the past of my life and go, I did that. Yeah. And I made it. I'm here. And I learned, and I grew, and I changed, and I evolved. And the nature of that mold that I had created for my life changed and evolved and grew with me. So it's a good thing. The good news is we are the ones who set the limit, set the boundaries to our own experience. So we can look at those boundaries and say, oh, well, how do I get past that? How do I overcome that? How do I move through that? And so this is some of the stuff, these are some of the things that we're going to be looking at today. Some of the foundational ideas that say, I stand here and I am the creator of my life. I am the one who determines the limit to my experience. And not all of us want a big, grand experience of life. Some of us want a simple experience of life. We don't have to look out. I mean, it's like in the days of Facebook, Instagram, and all the rest, we can get lost in the world of comparison, right? What is it Emerson says? Emerson says comparison is suicide. It's not up to us to compare the nature of my life to somebody else's and say, oh, my life is not good enough because so-and-so has this and so has that. No. It is about me saying, what is my heart's desire? What is it I want to experience for myself? Can I love myself the way I am and still be willing to move into a greater expression of me? And so how do I go about doing that? Let's go to number 1. In This Thing Called You, page 72, Ernest Holmes writes, you exist that divine feeling, fire, imagination, and creativity may be expressed through you. You exist. The divine feeling, fire, imagination, and creativity may be expressed through you. We take after the divine nature in each and every moment. Our thoughts, our words, our ideas give shape to all of that. They begin to set the pattern and shape that divine creativity as it is always moving through us. It's always happening. It never stops. It's always going on. That is why Ernest Holmes wrote in The Science of Mind that it is not any particular thought, and I don't know where this is. It just came to me right now. It is not any particular thought per se that will set the limit or create the nature of our experience, but the dominant tendency of our thinking. The patterning of thought, if you will. What are we considering most of the time? What are we thinking about most of the time? Am I considering and thinking about limitation? Or am I thinking about love? Am I thinking about freedom? Or am I thinking about lack? Am I thinking anxious thoughts, fearful thoughts? Or am I feeling free, excited, and enthusiastic about the nature of my experience? Where do I land on that scale in terms of the patterning of my thinking? And if I'm not happy with the nature of that balancing, what can I do to change that? How do I make myself a little bit more conscious? Can I wake up in the morning? Do I dare wake up in the morning, look myself in the mirror and say, wow, you are amazing. You are happy, healthy, whole, and abundant in this moment and every moment of your life. Can I look at myself in the mirror and say that? Do I dare? How would that feel? Try it on. I do it with my kids when they're here. We stand in front of the mirror and we go, I am happy, healthy, and amazing. Over and over again until they get really excited. They start laughing. They start feeling good about it. Because it can be. In the beginning, it's a little uncomfortable, right? We start talking to ourselves in the mirror. We're just kind of going, wow, I'm not sure about that. And we say it again. We feel a bit better. Say it again. We feel a little bit better. Start small. Start with little things. I am loving, lovable. What was that? I am loved, loving, and lovable. Right? Write it on the mirror. So when you get up there in the morning, you look up there, you say, I am loved, loving, and lovable. It's the little things. It's the little steps. We don't have to. We don't have to take on the whole big thing in terms of transforming our lives right now. It's baby steps, little steps. The little things, the little creeping little steps we can make, the little tiny changes start building up. They start moving us forward. We change one thought, then another, then another. Another idea builds on another. And all of a sudden we start believing in our own magnificence. We start believing that magic is real. Because all magic is something that lives outside of the boundaries of what we typically expect. Call it synchronicity. We like that word here, synchronicity. Changing our thoughts, changing our words, changing the way we feel about who we are, changing the way we feel about what our life is about, shifts everything. Changes everything. Because it's not necessarily the words, but it's the feelings that the words call forth, right? So we have a tool called prayer, okay, which is really what this talk is about. We have this tool called prayer. We call it spiritual mind treatment. Now, way back when I was running the International Youth Program, we had a tool, we had a way of teaching spiritual mind treatment. So I'm going to invite everybody to stand up because you need to stand up because there's hand motions. So we're going to need to use the hand motions, okay? So it goes like this. So there's 5 steps. We call them recognition, unification, realization, thanksgiving, and release. This is the junior church version, okay? So are we ready? Okay. It is, I am, I have, thanks, and bye now. Okay, let's go one more time. It is, I am, I have, thanks, and bye now. Okay, you can sit down. And I hope all of you at home participated as well. I have a few friends out there watching this morning, so yes, I hope you did it, and I'll be checking with you tomorrow when we talk. Um, all right. Number 2. There is a pattern of perfection at the center of your being which has never been touched by disease or misfortune. What you are trying to do is awaken. That's like that's not trying to do is awaken your whole being to spiritual awareness. Oops, sorry. So what you're trying to awaken is your whole being to spiritual awareness. Okay. There's a divine pattern inside each and every one of us waiting to be revealed. Right now. There's something inside of us that we are awakening to. We are awakening to. And so part of the process that we work with is spiritual mind treatment. The it is, I am, I have, thanks, and bye now. Part of the process is a process of revealing that truth by naming it, by speaking to it. Because we are to spend more time affirming the truth than getting hung up on the negative, by getting hung up on what we're trying to move through, to move past, to see through, right? Because energy flows where our attention goes. So what we give attention to tends to grow. Okay. So all the spiritual teachers in the past, Emma Curtis Hopkins, Mary Baker Eddy, Ernest Holmes, the Fillmores, all taught that we are to turn away from the condition to the truth, to turn away from the thing that we are trying to change to the thing that we are trying to embrace, right? So we look to the truth. We look through what appears to be or to what has been, okay, up until now. It's a great phrase to use. Up until now, I've been fearful about not having enough money. Up until now, I have been fearful about this cough I've had in my chest. Up until now, I have been anxious about not being able to get the bills paid, right? Up until now. Draws a line in the sand of our experience, okay? Then we can move forward and say, okay, no longer up until now, I've had this sense of fear and doubt about X, but what I embrace now, today, is a sense of faith, a belief in knowing that the divine source in me manifests right now every need in my world being met. That I'm healthy, whole, and complete right here and right now. Every cell and fiber of my being alight and alive with truth, with light, vibrant health, wholeness, and happiness in every avenue, every aspect of my life. That is the truth of me. We speak that. We speak that until we feel it, until we have a sense of conviction about it, no matter what it is we're addressing. And we speak about it in the terms of a present day, present moment experience right here and right now, not in some future place. Because in terms of the divine field that we live in right now, there is no time or space. It's all now. It's all in this moment. That is where we live, in this moment. We can embrace that, knowing that I can look at what has appeared to be up until now and know that that need not be permanent. Everything's in motion. Everything's always changing. Even this podium right here is changing in this moment, albeit slowly, right? It's breaking down very, very slowly. Given enough time, it will disappear from the spot if left to its own devices, right? And just like us. Science would tell you that every cell of your body is swapped out every 6 months. So how would you change it? How would you reshape it? Just from a scientific perspective, right? That's not bringing in to the equation the effect of our own consciousness on that process. Consciousness, the sum total of our thoughts, ideas, and beliefs about who and what we are and our lives has an impact on that, on the rate, on the process, on all of it. So what's possible for you? So what are the vibrations? What are the energies? What are the thoughts that you want to bring to bear, that we want to bring to bear on our life? Let's start with one, gratitude. Okay. We talk a lot about gratitude here. It is said that gratitude raises the vibration of our experience in every way. So what if you were to start, if you're not doing it already, what if you were to start your day with just being great, start and end your day with being grateful for just 3 things. And the next week, let it be 4 things. And the next week, let it be 5 things. If we just start and end our day with a simple practice like that, what is possible if gratitude is one of the highest vibrational feelings that we can emote, that we can have? What impact would that have on my health? What impact would that have on my happiness? What impact can that have on my love life or whatever, on anything? Just to be grateful and then move forward from there. Okay, next one. If at all times you are seeking inwardly to be aware of the divine presence, you will find it easier and easier to direct the law of life for definite purposes. If at all times you are seeking inwardly to be aware of the divine presence, you will find it easier and easier to direct the law of life for definite purposes. Practice makes it easier, is really what Ernest is saying. Practice makes it easier. So we start simple and we go from there. We start with little affirmations. We start looking at the mirror, telling ourselves that we're lovable and loving. We start with gratitude in the morning and the evening. We start changing the nature of our thought. What am I thinking about? What am I considering? What am I fretting about? And when we catch ourselves fretting, what do we do about that? When we catch ourselves fretting, what do we do about that? Just say no. Say no. Have a little affirmation. Everybody, I suspect that we all have our own favorite little affirmation. If you don't have one, talk to me. I'll help you get one. Okay. Mine was always, the one that I used when I was in ministerial school and still kicks in sometimes for me when I start fretting is, I am the way, the truth, and the light. Simple, straightforward. We all know it, right? Or I am happy, healthy, and whole. So when the gerbils kick in, they start running around with that negative little self-talk about how we're not enough and how, gosh, you really screwed that up. And what was he thinking? Or what was she thinking? Or what are they doing over there about this, that, or the other? When the committee convenes, in your mind, say, stop. And put your own little affirmation in there. Hand the gerbil committee the affirmation and let them run with that. right? I am happy, healthy, and whole. I am abundant, amazing, and whatever. Or I am the way, the truth, and the light. Whatever works for you. Pick a short, quick little affirmation and just let that run. Because what we are about is changing the nature of our thoughts, acknowledging that thoughts are powerful. The words we use are powerful. They make a difference. We begin just simply by remembering that we stand and live and have our being within a divine field and it in us. And it is that divine field that is always moving in, through, and around us in a creative fashion, responding to and fulfilling the patterns that we have set based on the beliefs that we carry about our lives. It's always going on. We can't stop it, so we may as well participate consciously and set the pattern consciously about the things that we want to live and have experience of in our lives. So what would we have? What would you have? Stop and think about it just a little bit. And if I don't want to take on, say, doubling my income in 2 weeks, how about a 10% increase over the next year, or a 15% increase over the next year, or a 20% increase over the next year? How much good can you accept? How much are you ready to receive today? How much can you conceive of yourself experiencing today? And maybe a little bit more tomorrow, and a little bit more after that, and a little bit more after that. It doesn't have to be a big bite. Not the whole elephant at one time, man, just a little bite today. And maybe a little bit bigger bite tomorrow. Based on the success we have today, right? We feel more confident. We have a little bit more faith, right? Because all it takes is that little mustard seed of faith, and it's all good. And that mountain moves. It just takes a little bit. And we build on that little bit each and every day of our lives. Because with every breath, with every thought, with every movement, with every little bit of change, we grow just a little bit more. And our ability to manifest becomes a little bit greater because we build on that experience. And our ability to embrace, to experience, to express that divine flow in and through us expands as well. It's like you've heard me talk about before. Am I going to the well of good with a teacup? Or am I going to the well of good with a garden hose? Right? How much good am I willing to allow to flow through my life, because I am the only one who sets the limit to it. So I get to expand that. So let's not think about it in terms of limitation. Let's think about it in terms of, man, no more teacups, no more garden hose. I'm hooking up the sump pump and letting that sucker go. Right? We're going to let it flow. And how much am I willing to allow? How much am I willing to embrace? And there's a whole lot that goes into all of this. And we take it one step at a time. We expand our abilities, we expand our willingness to accept and to express a little bit more each day, because what we are creating are new default positions in consciousness for ourselves. Right? So we're creating a new default position. It's not like growth is just not like this, right? So we have growth and it comes up and it levels off, maybe drops down, drops up, but that low is never quite so low as it was before, right? So we are creating a new position, a new default position for ourselves that says, if I just rest for a minute, this is where I live. Okay? Because we get change fatigue. How many of you have experienced change fatigue in the last couple of years? Absolutely. Absolutely. We have. Absolutely. And sometimes we need to stop and just breathe, and that's okay. Growth can be work. Growth is fun. Growth is exciting, but it can be work. And sometimes we need to allow ourselves to rest and to heal and relax and just be present with who we are and where we are right now. And that's wonderful. Growth is a magnificent thing. Spirituality, living in the presence as we are, as who we are, is a wonderful, magical thing. And it's to be celebrated. Each of us is to, pat ourselves on the back every now and say, you know what, you're doing okay. You're doing a good job. And we are. We're growing each and every moment. So let's put these principles into practice. Wrap this thing up in a nice little bow today. There is no box, right? We think about living, the box of our experience, right? The box that says, today, this is where I live, this is who I am, and this is all I'll ever be. We don't need to be that. We don't need to be that. There is no box. No inside the box, no thinking outside the box. Just let go of the box. Think about how have you limited yourself up until now? I should have put that up there. Just imagine that's up until now. Number 2, this week's daily affirmation. So take this, maybe write this on your mirror in the morning. I believe in divine goodness. I celebrate my daily experience of the loving kindness and livingness of God. Let's try that one on for the week. And at the end of the day, let's say the beginning and the end of the day, just make a short little list of your gratitude. What are you grateful for this week? Make a list, say it out loud, whatever works for you. Try it on. Try these things on this week and see what happens. See what happens. Let's live in a world of what's possible. Okay. So let's put this all to practice. And we will take this into prayer, into treatment. And just begin by recognizing that God is all there is. It is in this that we live and move and have our being, and it in us, a divine field of love and truth and joy that expresses itself through us and around us right here and right now. Every thought, every word, every deed, every action is the outpicturing and manifest presence of divine love. Love lifting us up in this moment. Love guiding us forward, directing us in ways that bring us joy and happiness. Love, health, wholeness, and abundance. And so as I speak this word here this morning, I know for myself and for everyone here in this space, everybody listening online in this moment, or as the week and time goes on, that all is well, that life is good and very good as each and every one of us. That any needs, desires are fulfilled in this moment. The divine love knows what is needed and fulfills that desire in this moment now. And so we move forward into our lives this day in faith. We move forward in love. We move forward lifted up, awake and aware just a little bit more to our own divinity, to the magnificence of ourselves, to the magic in our lives manifest in each and every moment. We set aside any doubt, any uncertainty, because it is swept away, swept aside in the light of truth as it flows through our minds and hearts. All is well, and life is good and very good. And so with gratitude, we move forward into this day, into this week, knowing that any desire of our heart is already fulfilled. Any need is met. And so we let go We let God and we let it be. And so it is.
And so it is.